Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and address the terrifying numbers coming out of the 2026 IT job market. If you've been anywhere near a tech blog or your news feed lately, you've probably seen the headlines screaming that artificial intelligence is coming for everyone's livelihood. But the narrative you're hearing, it isn't the whole truth. Today, we're going to unpack the reality of the tech landscape, pull straight from our grounded sources, and figure out exactly what is happening out there. Everyone is saying AI will replace every job, but the reality is much more interesting. AI won't replace everyone, but people who know how to use AI may very well replace people who don't. So let's break down the facts and separate the myths from the harsh, but entirely navigable reality.
Think about this number for a second. 1,668,000. The sheer scale of the disruption we're seeing right now is just staggering. Over 1.6 million tech jobs were officially lost globally in just the first 6 months of 2026 alone. This isn't just a minor market dip, it's a massive, seismic shift. We saw major moves like Microsoft cutting thousands of positions in June and Salesforce executing this massive AI-first reorganization that heavily impacted their global delivery teams. These are the official, on-the-books numbers that have sent a massive shockwave of panic right through the industry. Now you might be thinking, well, that's just affecting experienced developers and massive global corporations, right?
Well, if you are an Indian fresher or a recent grad, the reality is actually even harsher. We are looking at a staggering 80% drop in hiring from its absolute peak. To put that into simple math, if a company used to hire 100 freshers right out of college, today, they're only bringing on 20. That means 80 out of those 100 early career professionals are suddenly left scrambling, wondering what on earth went wrong with the career path they were promised would be incredibly stable and lucrative. Take TCS, for example, traditionally India's largest IT employer. Just a couple of years ago, they might have handed out 40,000 offers. This year, just 25,000. And if you zoom out and look at the macro level across the whole country, active job openings for early June 2026 hit a 28-month low of around 93,000. Now compare that to the roughly 1.5 million or 15 lakh engineers graduating every single year. You are looking at a scenario where, literally, if you put 16 engineering grads in a room, there is exactly one job available for that entire group. The other 15 are just left waiting. But the real question we need to answer in this explainer is, why? Why is this happening?
If you scroll LinkedIn or watch the news, everybody is saying AI is the villain here. AI is stealing all the jobs. But the reality is that AI didn't actually commit the crime. It merely exposed a completely broken system. Yes, AI is very good at repetitive, predictable, text-based tasks. Things like routine coding, data entry, basic graphic design. Those are definitely becoming automated. But the bigger truth is that the traditional IT services body shop model, where companies would just hire thousands of freshers in bulk, was already collapsing under its own weight from COVID-era overhiring. AI was really just a convenient excuse that companies used to finally clean up their bloated workforces.
So how did we get here? For decades, companies hired students in mass, stuck them in 6-month training programs, and then basically billed them out to clients for routine maintenance work. But today, AI tools can generate that boilerplate code and write basic CRUD apps in a matter of seconds. The entire math of the industry has completely flipped. One senior developer armed with a good AI assistant can now easily do the work of 5 junior developers. Companies absolutely refuse to spend 6 months training you on basic syntax when an AI can do it instantly. They want day one readiness. The system that supported those entry-level roles didn't just shrink, it fundamentally broke.
And this wasn't just a generic market shift happening on spreadsheets. The human cost here is immense. Take a look at the Oracle placement disaster. In May 2026, students at top-tier institutions, we're talking IITs and NITs, had their dream offers abruptly revoked. And these were 30 to 40 lakh packages. Imagine completing an internship a whole year prior, waiting months for the official offer, celebrating with your family who probably took out loans for your education, and then suddenly, via one cold email, the entire offer is ripped away due to quote-unquote corporate restructuring and headcount changes. I mean, just listen to this quote from an NIT student. "I felt like I was drowning in the middle of the ocean and no one was there to help." That perfectly captures the absolute despair caused by this whole situation. Another student from IIT Kanpur mentioned that they had finally reached the finish line of their incredibly rigorous education, only to hit rock bottom instantly. Companies severely overcommitted during the post-COVID hype cycle, and when the financial realities set in, they used AI restructuring as a convenient shield to cut costs, dumping the entire burden squarely onto the shoulders of 22-year-olds who were just starting their lives.
And to make matters unimaginably worse,
strict campus placement rules entirely trapped these students. Have you heard of the one student, one job policy? It's meant for fair distribution, but because these students had accepted the Oracle offer back in October, they were strictly forbidden from applying to any other companies during the entire placement season. So when the offers vanished into thin air in May, the placement season was already over. They were completely stranded, locked out of the market entirely through absolutely no fault of their own.
But here is where we really have to pause and ask a big question. Is AI actually as perfect as these companies claim when they use it to justify all these layoffs? Actually, no, not quite. A fascinating 2025 study showed that experienced developers using AI tools were surprisingly 19% slower. Why? Well, because AI still heavily struggles with complex decision-making, so these developers were wasting incredible amounts of time just debugging bad AI outputs and hallucinated code. AI can write code, sure, but it cannot fully understand a client's nuanced business needs or execute complex strategy without heavy human oversight.
Which brings us to this massive divide we're seeing in the industry today. AI is acting as a brutal, unforgiving filter. On one side, you have what we call the vibe coder. This is someone who uses AI like a magic button. They write a prompt, they copy-paste the output, and they don't really understand what the code even does. They are highly, highly replaceable. But on the other side, you have the AI orchestrator. This person treats AI exactly like a junior developer. They assigned it the routine, boring tasks, but they focus their human brain on system design, catching bugs, and business strategy. They possess the critical thinking and problem-solving skills that AI simply lacks.
And the market is absolutely rewarding this difference. While a normal engineer, who maybe fears AI or only uses it superficially, might see a standard 5 to 8% salary hike, the AI orchestrators, those who actually know how to command the technology, are negotiating massive 18 to 35% salary hikes. Same company, same designation, but vastly different compensation because they are driving incredible productivity. Section: The 4-Step Survival Guide. How to Thrive in the 2026 Job Market. All right, so here is your 2026 playbook. The old rote learning system is totally dead. Instead of trying to compete against AI, this framework is all about learning to use it effectively and positioning yourself in the growing sectors of the market. We are going to shift our focus completely away from traditional IT services and lean heavily into the exact skills that make you utterly invaluable.
Step 1. Target Global Capability Centers, or GCCs. These are the in-house tech offices for global giants like Google, Amazon, and JP Morgan. Listen, this is literally the bright spot of 2026. Estimates show GCCs are expected to add 1.2 to 1.4 lakh new roles this year alone. They pay significantly better than the old body shop IT services, but they absolutely demand modern skills. Jobs are actually growing rapidly here for roles like AI engineers, data scientists, cloud engineers, and cybersecurity professionals.
Moving on to steps 2 and 3, you have got to stop grinding basic coding loops and memorizing syntax. Focus on programming languages like Python or SQL, yes, but more importantly, you need to master high-level system design. How do different components connect? How does an application scale to 1 million users? AI can write the basic lines of code, but it severely struggles to architect a whole system from scratch or deeply understand the business logic behind it. Your critical thinking, your business understanding, and your creativity in system design, that is your true moat.
And for step 4, I absolutely love this quote. The game is no longer about your degree. It is about your ability and your proof. The old system that relied purely on a brand name degree, totally exposed. Today, a student from a Tier 3 college who is building real-world projects and sharing them publicly on GitHub or social platforms can absolutely beat a top-tier student who merely memorized a textbook. You need to use tools like Claude, Gemini, or GitHub Copilot as learning assistants, not to copy answers, but to build a highly visible portfolio of real solutions. Your proof of ability is your new resume.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to remember this one thing. The old system collapsed, not you. AI has not stolen your future. It just forced the rules of the game to evolve. AI is not your biggest threat. Staying outdated is. The future firmly belongs to people who continuously learn, who master their communication and problem-solving skills, and who use AI to become incredibly productive. So I leave you with this final thought. What kind of engineer will you choose to be moving forward? The one who fears the future or the builder who commands it?